Hi everyone, this is Kellie with HappyMe.yoga, and I am here with wellness expert Barbara Badolati. And today we are here to discuss about our latest and greatest project, the WOW Council. What is WOW? It stands for Wellness at Work, and it bridges leadership wellness in the workplace. To introduce our very first WOW Council member, Miss Barbara Badolati. Hey, Barbara, welcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, I've been in the wellness field for 40 some years with corporate wellness for a good 30. And it's so amazing that this has evolved. And so I really appreciate you putting together a team of experts that can deliver wellness at work.
Yes, I can't think of perfect person to partner with in terms of workplace wellness because Barbara has been doing this since the 1980s.
I know corporate wellness was just kind of coming onto the scene. So I've had a lot of experience and history with the public and private sectors and organizations, nonprofits, and so on. It really doesn't matter. Anytime, as you and I both know, that you bring people together, whether they're virtual or not, with leadership, with the desire, hopefully a unified desire, for an objective to not just for the bottom line, but to be of service or provide a product that serves other people. So if people in the work site aren't happy and productive and working together, which is that whole holistic wellness model, then your company isn't really thriving. That's my experience.
Yes. And Barbara, can you tell us why you're so passionate about this, how you started, and what are you doing right now?
Because I was in a work site that was not healthy. And I realized just one day, I was in my early 20s, and I just woke up one day and I thought, if I stay on this path, I don't, I was overeating. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't sleeping well. I was using alcohol when I got home because I was so stressed. So I just realized, unfortunately, I was young enough to kind of have that wake up call to say, this isn't working. Of course, there was no wellness at work. At that
Yeah.
time. People were smoking. And,
Yeah.
I was in a totally different era. But I just knew that this is not going to be sustaining. And then the more that I took care of myself, right? It always has to start with ourselves, which I find with leaders, right? If they don't start to take care of themselves first, they can't possibly influence their culture of their company. So once I started to work on myself, not just physically, but also emotionally, mentally, and even financially, spiritually, all those different aspects, relationships, all of it. Then I realized, this can go into work sites,
Yes.
right? And so then there wasn't really a lot going on at that point, but I knew that assessments were really important. I knew some sort of a biofeedback where we can understand more of what's happening with the biochemistry of people, and also then what was going on with the mindset, and connecting to the safety department and other human resources, and just starting to create that company or organization as a holistic sphere. Even though wellness wasn't really recognized in the beginning, that is really what it's about, is sustaining a culture of well-being, mentally, physically, community, all of those communication, all of those different components that feed into a healthy work site.
Yes. I love everything that you mentioned, but you mentioned the culture a lot of times, and I believe that spells the difference between the best place to work and not so good place to work. So we've worked together with some projects with Hilton and other companies. And in your experience working in the workplace and giving your talk, leading, whether you're leading movement, breath work, or leadership training, how does that look like, and what is the difference that you see afterwards in terms of the culture and the leadership?
Yeah. And so a lot of times people think wellness is just like putting a Band-Aid on something or having a program. And those are things that are important, connecting people to resources like EAP and other things in the community. That's super important. Some people love to have competitions, which build teamwork and other things in a company. Some people don't like to do that. So one of the aspects of incorporating a wellness program that's successful is really understanding not only the culture, but what type of culture do you want to create?
Mm-hmm.
So, right. So that really comes up to C-suite, any kind of stockholder, like other people that are those decision makers. But also, the only way that it can really be successfully implemented, at least from my experience and what I would implement, is having all different people represented in that company. So I
Mm-hmm.
had always somebody from every shift. I had all different types of workers that also contributed, whether it was through the wellness committee or being champions for certain
Mm-hmm.
things that were really meaningful. I mean, some people really stepped up because they cared about financial well-being and they
Right.
had resources that they could bring into the work site. I also incorporated and involved spouses
Right.
because it's not just at the work site, it's also at home. These
Yes.
are all things that affect culture. And culture is about being happy, being a team member, working together to solve problems. So it's recognizing the value of everyone. And again, that does come from leadership or the C-suite. And yet it also can be from the ground up in any
Mm-hmm.
aspect of the company. And so I think sometimes it's not that it's necessarily not recognized, maybe it's just not strategized in the
Right.
best way.
Yes. A lot of things I see out there is very reactive and it's not part of the strategy. And that's why we're bringing WOW up in the workplace. The wellness at work is to make sure that the wellness is part of their business strategy. It's no longer a perk. I think gone are the days when people expect, like nutrition or healthy,
Right.
bar or yoga class or gym on site. I think people and employees have more expectations from their employees. In fact, we see all the numbers out there, like 80 something percent of people are looking for workplace that support their mental well-being. So these are the things that we look at in the council. And that's why I'm so happy to have Barbara be one of our main go-to expert when it comes to wellness at work. And Barbara, can you talk about your expertise and what can you bring in the workplace?
Yeah, and I really do love everyone that you brought together for the council. I think that's we're a strong team and we're building our own culture as well. And so through the years of doing all different types of programming from stress management to, again, being a consultant with companies, is I did write a #1 bestseller. It went #1 on Amazon, and it's about sleep. And that is another factor in people being healthy and bringing their best game. So that's a big part of well-being. It is just one little piece. And there is so much out there as far as different ways that people can be healthy and what, like you were mentioning, nutrition or classes and so on. I think also it is understanding your workforce because there is so much value in retaining good employees.
Oh, yeah.
And there's cost to all of that. So again, knowing what the issues can be for your workforce and setting up the environment, programming. I did one assessment at a company, and what we learned is that people just needed more flex time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we had to build that into the financial aspect piece of it, the HR. We had to do a lot. It's not what we thought, the people that thought, oh, we need a wellness program for this work site. Once we did that assessment, so I do want to just make sure that, yes, I mean, my expertise is sleep and I have all of this background in corporate wellness, but also it's vital for people to understand what do people really, really need. And then when they know that they've been heard and that there's action that's been taken, and sometimes it's pretty easy. Sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean,
Right.
right? So It's a really, really vital, and you have a team of experts as well. So we can certainly bring our expertise, whether it's sleep or
Hmm.
corporate wellness strategy or whatever. So but it is knowing what do your employees or the people in your organization really need and be heard.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I want to ask you, how can they get started? Say someone is watching and you're a leader of the company, not necessarily HR, but maybe you are a CFO or someone who manages a team. What do you think are the things that they can do to start this, and how can they get in touch with you, Barbara? And of course, I'll let them know about the Wow Council later.
Yeah. So my name, BarbaraBadolati.com, and then of course I'm on all the socials. I would say the most effective way I have found is to reach out to all the different departments, all the different shifts, find those champions in each one of those places, men, women, different ages, right? These people are having babies, or maybe that, like, your workforce better than anyone. Once you have that and you understand your demographic, then invite those people in, take them to lunch, and let them know that everything is confidential, and find out from them, what are those pain points? What are people complaining about when they come in to work or they're sitting at lunch? And that's a great way to do an assessment. There's also all kinds of confidential health risk appraisals. Those are really vital when it can be linked to, like, insurance companies and so on. Again, we have to be mindful of HIPAA and so on, but that's a really valuable assessment. There's also the mental health workers and different, it depends on what your benefits are, but that's another way to find out the information, even if it's just general. At least 30% of my workforce has diabetes. 80% are enlisting the mental health services that we offer. So those are good ways as well. And then I think the other is you have to look at you have to look at bottom line. What's the turnover? What's it costing you to keep those employees there, happy, productive? And those are just a few ways that you can assess. And then you got to sit down and really look at, okay, what is our strategy? Not short term, but long term also, because once you build that culture, then it's there and it'll sustain you. And then you can really be profitable.
Amazing. These are great information. And of course, we are here as your consultant and we can work with you and partner with you on designing and co creating what that wellness program looks like and who are the experts that's needed to deliver that in the workplace. So, Barbara, is there any last message? You have a minute.
I appreciate everybody just taking a minute to listen to us. Kellie, you're doing a great job in being able to put together all of these resources for companies. You might want to just start with a sleep program or doing an assessment. So I would say start small. Kellie and I have all kinds of resources for you, and sometimes it just takes that first step.
Yeah, get in touch with us here on LinkedIn and our socials. HappyMe.yoga. The contact information is there, and email Kellie at happyme.yoga. All
Thank
right.
you, Kellie.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Be safe and be well.
Bye bye.
Bye now.